Hey guys, I'm here on the side of my house, and if you saw my recent video on installing these rain gutters, you know what a pain in the butt it was, but also what a requirement it was, because I need to use this space out here as temporary storage during our remodel that's going to be going on inside. We are 1 week away from kicking off that project with demolition, so I am just going to be covering a bunch of stuff in this video about preparation for that. I'll go over some of the changes we're going to make inside. I've got my fingers crossed that this holds up. We've done a little bit of testing of it so far, and it seems to be watertight. And it is February still right now, so we do occasionally get weather here in Southern California, despite what some people believe. So got to make sure that the stuff that's being stored out here is being kept safe. And then there's a bunch of other prep work that's going to be going on inside that I'll cover as needed. So guys, again, thank you for bearing with me while I do some of this alternative content while some of this work is going on inside the house. But one other big thing, which is happening tomorrow, is Valentine's Day. We're not gonna be going out to eat because we have a baby, and you know, there's gonna be lots of other couples out for Valentine's Day meals, and we don't wanna disturb any of them. We're gonna make a nice meal here at home, so I think I should start also preparing some victuals for that. We're at Costco now, and Joe's here. We're shopping. We're eating a lot less red meat these days, but on special occasions though, I think it's totally worth it, and Costco always has prime, USDA prime beef options. We got tri-tip, short ribs, brisket, that's probably a bit much, and New York's. What's this? Sirloin. I just figure if you're going for steak, you might as well get really good steak, right? So we do have some tenderloin options in here. One there, some up there. I think this one looks like the best option when it comes to the amount that you get and marbling and all that good stuff. Joe, you want some steaks?
I'll take it.
Okay. You want these smaller ones?
No, cool. Bigger one then.
I want the big one. I want that one on top. That's delicious.
Ooh, pretty flowers.
I like the arrangement of colors. If you're picking out flowers for your girlfriend or wife or otherwise, or anyone you want to buy flowers from, there's always a question like, what do the flowers mean? Should get red roses or whatever? I don't care about any of that stuff. All I care is that it looks kind of pretty. A nice arrangement of colors. You know, you can go for red roses. I think that's appropriate on something like Valentine's Day, but honestly, most of the red bouquets they had here were a little on the questionable side, so that's why I went with this one. I hope Diana likes them. Fortunately, there's a Lowe's right next door to Costco, so here we're getting something for the outside project. I have a couple table frames that I've had ever since I did the sit-stand desks in our office. I want to use those table frames outside. I need to put some tops on them though, so I'm just going to buy a piece of plywood. Christian came over and said hi, he watches the channel.
I do.
So,
subscribe.
Yeah, everyone subscribe because Christian told you to. Our house is an absolute disaster area right now, but this side has been temporary storage for a long time for a lot of different stuff. This is the dog food corner. We're gonna have a countertop with some cabinets installed right there, but behind the dog food for way too long has been these table frames that I removed from the computer room back when we put in the sit-stand desks. We actually have two sets of frames here, and we're just trying to reality check which one is which. And Joe figured this out before I did. We got two legs there, and those go with these cross pieces here. These two posts stick into those two and mount this longer piece here. Unfortunately, that longer piece is longer than I anticipated, and we cut our plywood down too short. This is going to be like half of a table. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Oh, there you go. Can you push that in or something?
I'm filming. No way.
Well, hold it in place.
Oh, push this in.
Yeah.
Almost. Almost. There you go.
You're like, I gotta hold this camera up, man.
Let's document everything. Mistakes were made. I'm gonna blame the fact that I had USDA prime filet mignon in the truck getting warm, and I had to make a snap decision on what size to rip this plywood down to. I decided to go with 2 3-foot segments, which gives us 3 foot by 4 foot. Unfortunately, that's not wide enough for these table frames. These table frames are really made for about a 3 foot by 5 foot tabletop, or maybe slightly smaller than that. Unfortunately, that means that there's not enough overhang here to get to all the mounting points for the screws. That's okay, we're just gonna roll with it. If there is a positive side to this, a silver lining, I found these screws I have, which are 1 5/8 inches, which come out just enough to give us a secure mounting point for this plywood. So we can at least mount it on 2 of the 3 sides.
What a struggle.
Pulling away from all angles. So our space out here is now much cleaned up, much better, much easier to work with. Just trying to keep it open. It should be protected from the weather for the most part because of the wonderful rain gutters. A couple tables to put stuff on. Right now I've just moved all the stuff over that I've been working with. I need to sort through some of this stuff and look for returns, put some of my tools away. Again, I feel really silly about this plywood and everything, but I'm sure we'll find a good permanent home for it once it's served its purpose here as some temporary space, because as we're moving stuff out here, there's gonna be some stuff that we just don't wanna set on the ground, so we can put that stuff on the tables. Some stuff we can tuck under the tables just to make better use of this space. I know I've still got fascia boards down there. I'm gonna figure out what to do with those soon. And as Joe pointed out, even though the plywood was cut to not good sizes, we do have 3 tables now, whereas before we had none, because we added the last piece to the top of my sawhorses there, and now we've got even more space to work with. Right, Hero? Sleepy boy. So it is now Monday. We had a great weekend actually. On Friday I was watching Hannah most of the day, and we had a lovely day together, but when I watch my daughter I don't have too much chance to do much beyond that. Friday night though was Valentine's Day, and we had a wonderful steak dinner. In fact, my wife also went out and got a really nice steak. In fact, much nicer steaks than the steaks I got at Costco. Well, it was just one steak, but it was a tomahawk ribeye. So that was insane. It was dry aged from the butchery, and I've never really cooked a steak like of that quality, and it was also really thick, so I had to kind of figure out a newer method of cooking it, which involved I guess what is called a reverse sear, because it's very thick. Started it in the oven, got it up to about 115 degrees, and then switched it over to the cast iron over here to finish off and get a nice sear at the end. I have to say it worked amazingly. It came out really good. The white balance in my kitchen here is not all that great, so I don't know if you can tell, but it's just perfectly cooked. Maybe just a smidge more rare than a nice medium rare. Had a great sear on it. So I would say I recommend this method, but it does require a meat thermometer, and especially if you have one of the ones that I got actually just recently for Christmas that lets you put the temperature sensor in the meat and then run the thermometer outside of the oven. Then you just wait, an alarm goes off when it reaches the desired temperature, and then you can move on with whatever additional prep you planned on doing. The next night we had steak again because you guys saw I got those steaks at Costco and I didn't want to freeze them or anything, so those turned out real nice too, just to sear on them on the cast iron. But why the heck am I dwelling so much on talking about cooking in my kitchen? Well, that's because we're about to do a massive remodel, and I don't think I've done an actual full rundown of our goals for this remodel when it comes to the interior stuff, why we're changing stuff that we're changing, and how it's hopefully going to make our lives just a bit easier and a bit better once it's all finished. So here is what we're going to be changing and why. Let's start with the kitchen. We have a little corner kitchen here. It's not the hugest, and the main thing we're missing here is counter space for one. The countertops themselves are also a little bit higher than they should be, which I don't mind too much, but my wife is a little bit shorter and she kind of does, so we're going to lower them to the proper height, which is about 1.5 inches lower than this. Our countertops in the kitchen are all made out of this tile, and I don't think it was very well done because it has this massive grout in between. Very thick, very difficult to clean. The island has a little step-up part here, which is like a bar, but honestly we find this to be mostly useless. So we're just going to have a flat island now with more useful counter space, and it's going to be a single piece of quartz, except we're going to be doing a slide-in range and stovetop right here, so the oven we can move from here over to the island. I apologize it's so cluttered right now, but you guys can probably tell, especially since we have all this baby food stuff now, our cabinets are pretty much full, so it's spilling out onto the countertops. We don't have a dishwasher, so this is our dish drying area. It's always full and it uses up even more of the counter space, so it's like, where do you prepare food? You kind of clear off some space right there and do your best. We are adding a dishwasher that's going to go in right there, and then the cabinets are going to be pulled out completely and replaced, and I think we're going shaker style and white. So it should be a much nicer, cleaner look for everything, but again, mostly our goals are functionality. We love to cook. We hate cleaning. It's very difficult to clean this kitchen. We love to cook. We need more space. More counter space over here, as well as on the island, as well as we're going to be adding a countertop right here with more cabinets down there for more space over here in the dog area. And we are adding a hood. If you guys might have seen while I was cooking that steak, it produced a pretty good amount of smoke and everything, and there's nothing to suck that up. We just have an overhead light right now with some splatters that got on there somehow. I'm not sure where those came from. And I guess the last thing would be we're going to be getting a new sink, which is going to be an apron front sink, just a single bowl, 33 inches wide, and it's going to be an undermount sink rather than an overmount sink, because this is also really difficult to clean and kind of a pain in the butt, because you have these like channels here where the grout goes in and it gets water in there. Water goes in along the back edge there too, and that also really sucks. So I'm really looking forward to the new sink. Actually, that should be here Thursday. That's not all, of course. We have this entire front area, which is kind of the dining room over on the left and the living room, dining room on the right, living room on the left. There's a couple walls here. We're going to leave those as is because it would have been a little bit too much to get into rebuilding walls or doing additional supports above them. But the tile in our house is also something that we've never been super fond of. It's not horrible, but it's definitely not the best tile. It's also got spaces here where the grout is just coming up, and that kind of sucks. So we're going to be tearing up all this tile. We're also going to be removing all the carpet here from the main living room area. I'm going to go with luxury vinyl plank flooring, which is going to have a wood finish covering this entire room, and going all the way back the hall past where Nori is there to the back bathroom. So when we do demolition, we're going to be not only removing all the cabinets and everything here from the kitchen area, we're also going to be tearing up the floors all the way back down the hallway, also into that back bathroom, which means we need to pull the toilet and the vanity out of there. We'll be removing all this trim around the doors, which is, you know, not bad trim, but it's not necessarily our taste. We have some incandescent dimmable lights at the four corners of this room, and we're going to be removing those, and we're going to be adding LED lights along here, also LED ceiling lights in here, and then some more going up in here into the kitchen. And then there is the walls, and I don't know if I've given you guys a close-up look at our walls, but there's some really weird stuff going on with the texture, like little warts everywhere that kind of pop out. This was done, I confirmed with my neighbor that this was done DIY by the former owners of this house, and there's so many little spots like this that I just think were supposed to have been smoothed over at some point, but they just decided for some reason they like warts all over the wall. It kind of varies in how bad this texturing is from place to place depending on what you're looking at, but we're pretty much tired of it. So at this point, if we're going to be tearing everything else out, might as well fix the walls too. So our contractor is going to be bringing in some guys who are going to be skim coating, actually 2 layers of skim coat over all of this wall texture after they probably scrape off some of the high points. Like that one right there. What? Who wants that on their wall? I don't. Now I'm going to be handling the demolition, more specifically me, as well as Joe and a bunch of other awesome volunteer family and friends who might be stopping by on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week. So I've been gathering some tools to help make the job go a little bit better. This is a Panasonic rotary hammer, which I've actually had in my possession for a really long time. So I got to make sure the batteries are charged up on this thing. And I actually had to order a new attachment for the end piece here. It's going to go on like that. And that removes the rotation, and that allows you to use something like a spade bit on the end of this, which hopefully should help us tear up any tile that might be giving us trouble. Now we've also got the mutt right here. Looking forward to trying the mutt out. I've never used a mutt, at least not this style of one. But I'm thinking this should be pretty helpful for digging under those tiles and doing it while you're standing up too. I kind of want to just dig one up right now. We'll save that. I'm going to do a video on the demolition, don't worry. So hopefully you guys can tell that the reason this has involved so much planning, and the reason that I've been trying to tell you guys that I'm probably going to be doing some videos about home remodeling and stuff, is because this is a substantial project that is basically going to make like 75% of my home unlivable for probably 3 to 5 weeks is the estimate from our contractor. We do have an emergency failsafe in my parents' house where we could possibly go and visit, maybe spend a day or two if we really need to, but we're mostly going to be surviving in the back 2 rooms of my house, which is our bedroom and the baby's nursery, Also, we'll have the computer room, although that's basically going to have the computer and additional storage in it. And I'm also going to have the garage available, although it also is going to have some more stuff stored in it, so I can hopefully continue to make videos about computers and technology, because from my understanding, you guys like it when I make videos about that stuff too. So if you have any suggestions or feedback on the demolition process, any ideas for us there that you think might help us out, and you want to leave those down in the comment section below, I'd be very, very grateful for that. And I think there's one last thing I wanted to show you guys before I end this video, and that is how we're going to survive with the living situation at the back of the house, because we're only going to have one bathroom to work with and one sink to work with. And although we're probably going to be eating out and getting takeout and whatever a lot, we're still probably going to need to wash dishes from time to time. And here it is. My solution to hopefully survive the next few weeks is going to be some outdoor space. I'm going to have the Easy Up set up right out here, right next to our makeshift garden. And this is right outside of our sliding door from our bedroom. So this is going to allow us to have some outdoor space. I'm going to move the dining table out here. Hopefully, if it does rain during the time that this is going on, it won't rain too hard. That will give us some more space to use out here, but then I think I'm going to take it one step further. We've also got a hose down here. So when we tear out the kitchen, I'm going to take some of the cabinets and the sink specifically and set them up, I don't know where specifically, but it's out here somewhere, and hopefully get an adapter so I can connect the hose up to the sink for cold water at least, and then we're just going to put a bucket underneath. So hopefully that will give us the ability to have some semblance of an outdoor kitchen to wash dishes when necessary. But if you guys again have any feedback, if you've ever lived through a massive home remodel on a similar scale to this, and you have comments or feedback or ideas for that, also would really appreciate any of those down in the comment section below. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Stay tuned because the demo weekend is coming up really soon, and I will be doing a video about that. Again, any feedback you guys have is really, really welcome and appreciated. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this one. We'll see you guys really soon. I hope I survive the next month.